Hello, guys. So there's a phrase when I was growing up, I always heard never make a promise when you are happy and never make a decision when you're angry. It's a quote that we've heard several times. I'm very sure you probably heard it, but nobody knows who said it. Even if you check history, if you type, you go to ChatGPT and you ask who mentioned this thing, they're not going to tell you who because nobody knows who. What is actually a quote that, if you think about it, as something it has been protecting people in terms of making some harsh decisions based on emotion. That quote is something that we can apply today to Nottingham Forest. Never make a promise when you're happy and never make a decision when you're angry. Unfortunately for Nottingham Forest, the owner, that's Marinakas, made that mistake when he decided to say he sacked Nuno. So if you go back in history of Nottingham Forest, this is a club that has been in championship for a very long time. Eventually, he bought them in 2017 as the major shareholder. He bought the club, and since 2017 to 2021, between 4 years, I think they've had about six managers. Guys like Martin O'Neill, even some Gary Brazil, that's caretakers. They've had people that have been taking care of this club since that time. But not until Steve Cooper came in. Steve Cooper guided them from championship into the Premier League through playoff. And I could remember when they were playing, I think they were playing against a team I was actually supporting for them to come into the Premier League. And Steve Cooper did it. They came into the Premier League. But unfortunately for them, the following season they were struggling. But it's just what you would expect from a team coming from the championship. They will struggle. But what matters is if they are going to maintain that Premier League status. That's what matters. And that's what he did. He did that, sustained them in the Premier League. But the owner of the club, which is nobody, Marinakas, decided to sack him and brought him Nuno. I could remember when he sacked him as that December, I think 2023. When he sacked him, I could remember that I was like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? But he brought in Nuno. And everybody, some people kept quiet, like, okay, Nuno have showed himself what he can do in Wolves, even though Nuno was not, he didn't do well in Tottenham, but we know that it's something that he could do. And this guy performed miracles using people like Chris Wood. We all know Chris Wood. Chris Wood is an average striker. This is somebody that he has struggled, but it looks like for every shot he was having on target, one was going into the goal. Chris Wood. So Chris Wood was overachieving. Most of their players were actually overachieving in the Nottingham Forest team. They were overachieving because when you compare them with the likes of Harry Kane, Alan, then you will look like, okay, when you look when Harry Kane was in the Premier League, he's doing way better than what Harry Kane was doing in terms of chance creating and ability to make that chance come into do something with that chance. The same thing with Alan. It was this guy. All of a sudden, we're picking Chris Wood in our FPL. I never thought I would pick Chris Wood in my FPL. That's just a fact. That's to tell you that this guy is overachieving. Now, for you to now feel that, okay, I think it's time for we to change the way we play, which is something I'm going to talk about very soon. And I'm going to talk about how this bacteria and fungi in the Premier League right now, which has attached itself to more than 95% of the Premier League, what they call it, managers, and they want to all play like Pep. That's another topic for another day. But eventually, they've been rumor that this guy is going to be sacked, and that rumor is what made him to be misbehaving towards the owner Marinakas. But it started from a particular game. I think they were playing. It started from a particular game, Leicester. Leicester was already. I think they were already relegated, and everybody expected these guys to beat Leicester. But They were drawing the game 2-2. And Awoni they had injury. And everybody was surprised that, okay, Awoni had injury, you didn't bring in somebody to sub him. Eventually, the game ended in 2-2. And Marinakas entered the pitch and was lashing at Nuno. I all thought that, why would you do that? Is it because of the scoreline? We never knew why I was lashing at the guy. People like Guy Never was saying Nuno should just go and tender his resignation and leave because the guy is overachieving. And I can remember fans of Nottingham Forest came at Guy Neville, which I expected them to do. Why will he say that? Then he came out to explain that he was asking him, why will you not make a sub when we needed the win? Because as at that time they were fighting for Europa competition. This was something they were not expecting. They were fighting for Europa competition. But fast forward, miraculously, everything happened in their favor, be it Crystal Palace not making it and the rest of it. They had the spot to go into Europe. All of a sudden, Nuno started making statements about how he was not close with the owner because the owner has brought in somebody they called Edu from Arsenal as the new sporting director, probably to distance himself from the coach because him and the coach were very, very close initially. But to distance himself from the coach, he brought in Edu. And he has been complaining that this and that and that. And the rumor that has been flying out, I didn't want to believe it then, that this guy is trying to change the approach of his team and has been looking for replacement for Nuno. Even before Nuno started making that statement, it been that rumor. And eventually, the moment the season came in and he lost some games, maybe one or two games, he sacked him. He felt maybe he can use that as an excuse to sack him, but we all knew that the reason why he sacked him is because of the statement he has made twice or three times. And that's Marinakas, has come out to defend. Based on he was angry, he sacked the coach. There's no problem with you sacking an employee that talks bad about the employer. There's nothing wrong with that. But now, when you appoint somebody that has better set of players than you, currently, he was managing a team that has better players than you, and you are bringing him in, and he finished 17th, and you are bringing him to your team just because he won Europa, because you want to play a certain style of game. True. Why? Now, people are not actually angry with why that the fact that he sacked. People are actually angry with the fact that the person he brought in. Why would you do that? So that's a problem. He sacked in a good manager and brought in a manager people don't regard, even though he won a cup because of they felt the team he managed did not achieve, did not finish well. And you brought him in. And you're expecting miracle in 6 or 7 games. And now you have fired him. Now I don't blame the coach. I actually blame the owner. And because of the fact that this guy was selfish, the owner he was selfish. When he said that, I made a statement with a friend and I told him that this guy is selfish. Because when you make a decision based on your own self to favor you, it's a selfish reason. Then you're being selfish. But when you make a decision to favor you and some other group of people, then you're a selfless person. But he was not a selfless person at that point in time for making that decision. But I know he has in his mind good for the fan base of Nottingham Forest based on the decision he has taken. I know, but that decision is a selfish decision, not a selfless one. Not after many games that you're expecting somebody to change the tactics of your team, to change how you play. For one reason or another, you expect that it's going to change that, it's going to still be winning games easily. It's not going to happen. And for a coach that, well, let us be factual with this. When we all saw the people coming in, when he was coming in, we knew it was not going to work with. It was not going to work well based on the style of play he has compared to the style of play of the previous manager and that team. The team relies on counter attack. He has a nine, which is Chris Wood, that is not fast, but he has wingers, Elanga, Awoniyi, he has people that are fast to counter. And he has defense that is not fast. Apart from maybe I know it's okay in terms of speed. They are going to defend deep. Now you brought in somebody that plays high line because when you play high line, you need fast defenders. So he doesn't have fast defenders. And based on how he plays, he needs a fast striker. He doesn't have a fast striker. Now he started benching Chris Wood, which is their best player. What were you expecting? What I don't understand. What were you expecting? You think, see, if you think buying players will just win you the Premier League or will just take you to European League, go ask Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea supporter. I know that it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Don't allow anybody to deceive you that it will just happen that you just buy somebody and it will just win you the cup. It cannot win you the cup. It's not possible. I don't know why we keep on doing this. It is not possible. So, right now, you have sacked the manager, which that's a very good decision. That's what I would say. It's a very, very good decision because that what he did is not something that a lot of owners will do. And I like him for doing that. It's not something that is very, very easy to do. To look at the fact that you've made a mistake and to sack somebody immediately. Right now, at least the guy has gotten about 10 to 20, 12 million. That's his payoff, which is very, very good for him. But right now, there's rumor that you want to bring Sean Dyche. Why are you bringing Sean Dyche? Why? The way Sean Dyche plays is worse than Nuno. So why if you claim you sacked Nuno for the style of play, why is it Sean Dyche that you are going to?